House approved a bill requiring China tech giant ByteDance to divest TikTok, potentially leading to the popular social video app's ban in the U.S. as it moves now to the Senate. Joining us right now is Sapna Mashwahari, and she is a New York Times business reporter. Nice to see you. Sapna, help us understand what you think happens next. Obviously, this is going to go to the Senate, but in terms of getting to the Senate, what does that timeline look like, and what kind of reaction do you think you're hearing from folks there?
Yeah, so right now we haven't heard a whole lot from the Senate in terms of what's going to happen. For example, Schumer has not confirmed that this will be introduced and taken on, but obviously that is the next step for this legislation, and anything can happen. Obviously, TikTok is waging a pretty strong lobby against this going forward, and they are really turning to their users to call legislators, to call senators. Just last night, you saw TikTok's CEO put out his own video calling on users and creators to really start reaching out, to make their voices heard, to be a part of the process. And so it's going to be really fascinating lead up to what goes on in the Senate.
Do you think that's an effective strategy? I mean, clearly it's working insofar as people are calling. And they have every right to call. You'd think American citizens should be able to do that. At the same time, there's been some backlash because you've had some people in Washington say, look at the power of this social media platform, and look what could happen or maybe is happening, depending on who you believe, that the Chinese government could effectively influence so many people.
Yeah, I mean, while people definitely have the right to call their elected representatives, I think that the Thursday stunt was met with some frustration from lawmakers. TikTok initially had a design glitch with the pop-up that they sent their users. So they sent this message that said, call your representatives, TikTok is going to be banned. And for a period, people couldn't actually X out of that. And they weren't able to do the normal swipe up to remove the message. They could only swipe right, which was not intuitive. And so you had a lot of people just clicking the button and calling the lawmakers and hanging up, or kind of prank calling. That said, a lot of people also did call and express their concern that this app that they really love might be taken away.
So let's just talk about the ban versus divestiture debate that's out there. TikTok has said this is a ban, or at least from a practical perspective, a ban, given the 6-month timeline, given some of the language in at least the House bill. The folks who crafted that bill say, no, this is a divestiture bill that effectively would force them to sell it to somebody else. What's realistic?
It's hard to say, honestly, because each side is really adamant that what they're saying is accurate. You even have Jeff Jackson, the congressman who is the most popular congressman on TikTok, 2.5 million followers. He voted in favor of this bill, and he doesn't think that it's going to go away. He thinks that they could reach some sort of resolution where ByteDance spins off TikTok or gets new owners. From TikTok's end, they say it's just simply not possible. And I think that the thought of a sale of the company, I mean, it raises a lot of questions. We're not even really sure, like, does this apply to just TikTok US? How would it interface with TikTok in other countries? There's a short list of who could buy TikTok, who could afford it. And
let's talk about that short list.
Yeah.
Given also that there's something known as the Department of Justice and also the FTC, Lena Khan, who I'm not sure would be loving some kind of big merger either.
Yeah, exactly. When you look at the companies who would, potentially be able to afford TikTok, not a ton of them out there. One of them would obviously be Meta. Very unlikely that would pass regulatory muster. So it's hard to see, how that works.
By the way, what do you think it would be worth, given that it seems to be, one of the things that's sort of been revealed during this whole period is this is not a money-making business for all of the talk about its popularity, which it is. I think that's demonstrable. This is not a profitable enterprise, it does not seem.
Yeah, it's private, and so it's hard to get a sense of what it would cost. I remember in 2020, the numbers that were thrown around at that time were like $50 billion. The app is way, way, way bigger than it was then. So, also unclear how it would be valued. I think the other big question too is, let's say all of these things happen and you get to this point, would China intervene and block a sale?
Right.
Or would certain pieces of the technology, not be up for sale or export to the U.S.? So it's raised so many questions, and I think this will be a crash course for Americans in M&A.